everyone, welcome back to Cheese and Turtles. My name's Imogen. In today's video I am sharing things I like and dislike about myself. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that, give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and let's get started. So, I want to preface this with, everyone has things they like and dislike about themselves, and we tend to focus on the negatives. And while understanding those can really help us with self-improvement, and it's important to look at the negatives so you know what you want to improve, we often forget to appreciate the good things about ourselves to the same extent. And we often focus on the negatives to the point where we become overly self-critical, and that can just make you depressed. So this video is about both my likes and dislikes about myself, and I kind of just want to model for you how to consider both, but like in an equal way, if that makes sense. So you don't get overly focused on the negatives, but you can still use them for self-improvement. Does that make sense? Hopefully it'll get you thinking about what your list might look like. So put your list in the comments if you are interested, if you want to. I would be very happy to chat with you guys as always. Let's get started with the dislikes, because I want to end this video on a positive note. So one thing I kind of dislike about myself is that I hold grudges for a while. When I feel hurt, I can feel very hurt and I remember it for a long time, and sometimes I do wish I forgave more easily. And this is something that I've definitely been working on a lot in therapy. I've been talking to my therapist about, like, how can I stop being so resentful? How can I stop holding grudges? And it's definitely a work in progress, but that is something that I definitely would seek to change about myself, is to like be more forgiving and hold grudges less, or ideally not at all, but less. Number two is I get bored easily. If any of my friends are watching this, you will know that this is entirely correct. But it takes a lot of mental stimulation to hold my interest, and this means that not only is it a struggle to find enough to keep my mind occupied, like even when I was in university, and that was an intellectual challenge of a level that I had not experienced before. Like, being at university was incredibly intellectually challenging. I still had like 4 or 5 side projects because I just get bored. Like that's literally it. I just get bored. And it was amazing that even though I had that level of constant intellectual challenge, I still had other side projects because I would still get bored. And yeah, it was just kind of amazing. The other problem is that I tend to overthink when I'm bored, and these tendencies have definitely caused me some social problems. Like, I will definitely overthink in my friendships, and I'll be like, oh, they don't like me anymore, even when I know, like, for a fact it's not true. So I try and avoid being bored because I know that I overthink and I know that it causes me problems. But again, avoiding being bored is a challenge for me. Number 3 is that I'm not a good cook. Again, my housemates were very much aware of this at university. I know I can obviously fix this, and I'm working on fixing this. But for now, I'm not really good at making awesome food. Like, I'm capable of feeding myself, but many of my friends are much more talented than me in the kitchen, and it's a part of adulthood that I don't really feel I've fully mastered yet. So what I've done this year is I've made like a list of recipes, and I want to like work through them before the end of the year, just to get a little bit more comfortable about having sort of kind of like a bank of recipes that I can draw on if I ever want to cook something, and that I've like cooked before and made sure that it didn't kill anyone and it didn't like taste terrible, if that makes sense. So yeah, okay. All right, number 4, I can't drive currently. Again, something I'm working on, but it does limit my independence a little bit, and it annoys me. Like, I'm lucky to live in a place, actually, I'm not lucky, I moved here on purpose. I live in a place where the cycling infrastructure is amazing, the public transport links are fantastic, so I genuinely don't have many issues with that at all, but it's something like I'd like to learn to do. Like, I feel like it's important. And number 5, I have chronic anxiety, and I tend to spiral emotionally very easily. I often read way too much into situations and expect people to be thinking the worst of me when they absolutely aren't, or probably aren't thinking about me at all. This has definitely improved with medication, so I am medicated for anxiety. I'm obviously in therapy as well, but it definitely contributes to my low self-esteem, and definitely contributes to my imposter syndrome. It's also interfered in my relationships and friendships. Sorry guys, and that really annoys me, and I am trying to change. So those are the things I kind of dislike about myself. So that was a lot of negativity. Let's move on to the positive things, and these are things that I like about myself. All right. Number 1, I love very intensely, whether that's platonically or romantically. If I like someone, I will absolutely adore them, and I would absolutely take a bullet for my closest friends. So I feel things very intensely, and that has a negative side, but it also has a really positive side. All right, number 2, I am ambitious, I am goal-driven, and I'm organised. And I mean, you probably knew that because this channel is about productivity, but I love planning and getting things done, and I love the feeling of a job well done and a goal well achieved. Every time I achieve a goal, it gives me, like, is it dopamine? I think it's a dopamine hit, and my brain just goes, oh yeah, this is great. So I like that. I love to learn, and I learn new things all the time. I'm a massive nerd. My capacity and love for learning are things that give me a huge amount of fulfillment, and I think they make me a better person because I'm always gaining new knowledge, gaining new skills. I'm very intellectually curious about stuff. I always want to learn about new concepts. For example, I was learning about well, technically, I already learned about data frames in R coding, but I was doing a refresher on data frames in R coding earlier, and I learned some new skills in that and ways to make it more efficient. And my brain, like the cogs were whirring. I was like, oh, this is great. All right, number 4, I'm highly independent and I can handle a variety of situations by myself. Now, sometimes this tips over into over-independence, where I'm like, I'll put a wall up and I'm like, I don't need anyone, but I can handle a lot of situations by myself. I'm good in a crisis. I have travelled extensively, including to another continent by myself. If you haven't seen my San Francisco vlogs, go check those out. I can handle my finances, take care of my health, and be very happy by myself. I like my own company, genuinely enjoy it, and I thrive by myself. So that is something that I do like. And number 5, this is maybe a trivial one, but I'm good at maths. I have an affinity for numbers, and I love making formulas, calculations. When I was like in my early to mid-teens, I wasn't very good at maths, and then in my sort of mid to late teens, like this switch flipped in my brain. I think I'd finally done enough maths that I just got it, and suddenly I was really, really good at it. Even though like I hadn't been good at it, I suddenly became really good at it. I say suddenly, obviously I was practicing like hell, but it feels like something just flipped on in my brain, and I was like, suddenly I was good at maths. And I get hyped at the prospect of being able to work with spreadsheets, calculations, graphs, and numerical data of any type. It's super, super useful in my career, and it satisfies my need for intellectual challenges. So those are things I like about myself, and earlier on in this video, things I dislike about myself. If you want to reflect on your own list, you are welcome to do so in the comments. Let me know. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that. Give this video a thumbs up. Follow me on Instagram, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye!